Hi everyone, welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, my weekly tarot forecast by the elemental signs to give you the skinny, the update, the currents, the undercurrents, the ups and downs in your emotional life for a week or so. So this reading is good for today. That's Friday, November 6th. Until next Thursday, which is the 12th. I always screw up those dates, but I'm pretty sure I got it right this time. Anyway, we usually start with a collective thought, an inspirational, hopefully, thought of the day, for which I use the Isis Tarot, which is not really a tarot, but more like a regular oracle deck. So I'm going to randomly draw a card for that. And we have island. No human is an island, or so they say. So that's number 34 in this wonderful little deck. So let's find out what that is. Oh, it's right near the end, isn't it? Probably could use a little more light in here. Alrighty. We have somebody who always knows a solution, and that would be good for us to know. Relaxed, quiet of mind, satisfaction. It does sort of seem like an island, you know, just tranquil. Find a way out of a difficult situation. A favorable period for the solution of problems. The announcement of a journey. You need a vacation. Where were you for the last couple of weeks or months? Hello? But at any rate, take that to mind that we need to relax. We need to be inspired. We need to look for solutions. Take it from the Isis Tarot. So we're going to go ahead with our reading now, and of course we read for the elemental signs in turn as numbered by the way they fall. So it's normally air, fire, water, and earth signs. And for each sign, for each elemental sign, we give a word of the week with their reading. Something basically to suggest a model or program to follow. All right.
Libra, and
So for air signs, rebirth. Your word of the week is rebirth. Think about all the ways you can start over. Think about all the ways you can arrive new, innocent, free, untarnished with any previous thing. That's nearly impossible. But let's take that into our hearts anyways, air signs. Let's say that maybe we have ways in this week to figure out how to readdress things and to find new solutions. So now I'm going to go ahead with our reading. And for that, I'm using the Clive Barker Ancient Egypt Tarot. Just pull open my document there. Air signs, what emotional happiness will you find this week? You have the Two of Discs. Two of Pentacles. You'll find happiness in being balanced, especially when it regards all the aspects of your life, the emotional and the business aspects of your life. This will bring great happiness to you because you will find that you are able to really order and organize and keep things relative to what they need to be involvement, so you won't spill over angrily at times when you need to focus on business concerns. Okay? What emotional challenges or surprises will you face in this week? And we have the world reversed. And maybe it's a surprise or challenge that we're still looking for a little more of a perfection in our lives. And so we find that although we have attained certain goals, maybe emotionally, we've sort of stepped up to a challenge emotionally, understanding people or extending love or compassion to others in our lives, but we're not really done yet. We don't really feel the success we want to feel there. Okay? So that's the challenge for the week, is figuring out what else we can go back to and deal with those situations. And then finally, what will concern our romantic relationships or our other kinds of relationships? Co-workers, platonic, family, things like that. And we have the Ace of Cups. And that Ace of Cups is reversed. And I'm going to suggest that some of the folks around us are going to have a problem maybe with something new in their lives, a new undertaking or new activity that's supposed to be emotionally beneficial, help us. Maybe there's delays with it. Maybe people are starting new relationships or new situations. Maybe they're in new endeavors. Maybe they're reassessing their dating kind of situation. And so maybe there's not total reason for those folks around you to fully feel the effect of love in their lives. Maybe there's some situations that are causing a little bit of a damper here, a little bit of a delay. It could be that maybe our intuition, or let's just say those who we are concerned with, their intuition sort of suggests to me perhaps that they're not fully ready to embrace love on some terms. And it could just be that there are too many other pressing matters going on in their lives. I'm looking over here at the rebirth card again, and maybe rebirth applies to how we're looking at our relationships, and maybe we're possibly counseling or seeing a need to have that delay too from that other person's perspective. So maybe what we are rebirthing in our lives, I'm going to just suggest that maybe putting off the connection with others, that maybe other people are saying, I need to let them go through that. I need to let them go through their process. So it could very well be that our other strong relationships are giving us space and making a little bit more time before they move forward into those emotional aspects that they partner with us, that they embrace with us, that they feel with us. So that's what I have for the air signs. So we're going to move on now to the fire signs.
Fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius.
And fire signs, your word of the week is speculation. Speculation. Fire signs, in terms of emotions, you may want to really give a lot of thought to where all the emotional happiness, unhappiness, troubles, advantages, opportunities are going in your life. So review what comes to you from that emotional realm. There may be something in there you need to think about, you need to speculate about. Maybe if you're thinking about possibilities in new relationships, you may want to really consider where you think they will go. You may want to map that out in your mind, do kind of a chart and say, well, relationship A, relationship B, so on and so forth. But give in to that sense of trying to understand and speculate where all of your emotional situations can lead you to this week. So now we're going to go ahead and shuffle the cards for the reading. And since we're on fire signs, I'm thinking of my favorite fire sign, my erstwhile wife and partner, the Banshee, whose show is also on this week.
Hey, everyone.
That's going to be Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Banshee's Material Matters. It's literally the corollary to my program here as she examines what is going on with the more material aspects of your life. So do watch that. I know she'd be happy. And now we're going to do the emotional reading for the fire signs. What emotional happiness will fire signs find this week? And fire signs, you're kicking up some heels here. Maybe you're feeling a little bit frisky here. The devil, of course, could be a warning to say that you don't want to draw too much to your material desires, your more lustful desires, your more obsessive desires. But it could be that maybe you're just going to kick back and say, you know what, it's time to feel something gritty, something more physical in my life at this point. It is time to indulge a little bit if you haven't indulged in romantic kind of things. It may also say to, let's just say that maybe we're also going to feel that level, especially in our deepest relationships, of how connected we are from that material need point of view. And you may want to examine that. I mean, it may be that love is total and complete, but sometimes even our own need may scare us. So check that out. Freedom is a gift of love. That's all I can say there. So then, what kind of challenges or surprises will we be facing in this week? And we have the upright Four of Discs. And I think from that emotional point of view, we want to really hold on to everything emotionally that we feel is ours or should be ours. And it may be that this coincides with the devil in a way too, that sort of obsessive nature of holding on to things. It may be, fire signs may be faced with looking at some really interesting challenges to their relationships, to the things that they feel they have in their heart. Maybe something that's really deep in your heart is kind of feeling that need for freedom that I mentioned a moment ago. And you will be challenged by deciding how much you really want to invest in holding on to it, or whether it really is serving its purpose in time to let it go. So I'm thinking this is a really heavy duty card for the fire signs to really speculate and consider those needy, clingy issues of our lives, fire signs, what it is we need to possess and what it is that we maybe should let free a little bit. So let's follow that up with our final card, what will concern our other relationships. And maybe this is where it will kind of key in there, because those two cards seem to address how we feel about the relationships, but this may tell us what those relationships are feeling about those situations per our involvement. And so this is good for our romantic relationships, or possibly our platonic, family, co-worker, other types of relationships. And it's the Two of Swords reversed. And so what may happen is that maybe fire signs, you may find that some of the people around you that matter the most will feel they do need some freedom from you. That maybe they want to kind of walk alone a little bit, or maybe they want to experience making their own decisions. It may be that fire signs this week you've been overwhelming other relationships in your life by holding them at bay, not holding them at bay, holding them tightly to you and maybe limiting some of their movement. And this card says that they're seeing that. Those other relationships are seeing that, and they want to kind of, buck for their freedom too. They want a little bit more discretion, autonomy. So this has been a very interesting week, and the only thing I can say is we know that earlier in the week, Mercury went direct. Mars had recently also went direct. A couple things are going on in the next few days that seem to suggest great karmic developments in the stars and maybe the energies around us. Momentous things happening, turning points. And some of that, of course, we can say, well, if you're American, oh yeah, there's a big turning point that's possibly going on politically here, or maybe it's not. But the point is that this is a moment right now in time that a lot of people are checking out seriously. There's a turning point going on. It could be really subtle, and maybe this is what it is accepting others' rights for autonomy, fire signs. So think about that in all of your endeavors. We're going to move on now.
Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces.
Water signs, your word for the week. Oh, yes. I feel that as a water sign. Confusion. Confusion is your word of the week, water signs. You must watch out for a lot of really conflicting data or emotionality that you're going to be absorbed with. Things are going to be confusing. You're going to feel a lot of different energies imparting to you things that they want you to consider, and all of that will mostly serve to make you feel you have to slow down, and you should slow down and take it a step at a time and really deal with it very, very slowly and completely and thoroughly. So I'm just saying that water signs, I know myself, you tend to kind of jump to some conclusions on occasion. So watch that. It's really a confusing time for everybody, let's be honest. Alrighty. What emotional happiness will you find this week? Oh dear. It's a hangover from the last reading. It looks like the Two of Discs reversed. For the water signs, your emotional happiness perhaps is more key to the idea of not feeling like you have to control everything in your emotional realms, and that sometimes it's okay to let some things kind of flop around a little bit and show, other potentials that are going on. Maybe it's about really pointing things out to you by letting them go where they will. So you may be more happier letting things go where they will, letting some things achieve their own balance, if that makes kind of sense. Like, just sometimes the emotionality that water signs have to handle just says, let it flow, and let the waters eventually settle down. So that may be where you will find some happiness, is in allowing that to happen and then maybe sort it out afterwards. Now, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And I have the Prince of Swords. And the Prince of Swords would be like the Knight of Swords. It's reversed. So the challenges that are coming to you are maybe a little bit on the strife side. There are maybe some situations that will really compel you to feel emotionally stressed this week, because they are coming at you and they involve undertakings, leaving, coming to you, diverting from you, whatever that is. It's really something that you're not able to control, and maybe, of course, it's adding to the confusion. This is something you can't really control, and once again, it may just be that you're going to have to let it happen and then pick up the pieces later. It just seems to me like it's really very external in a way, and you don't really have control here. I don't feel this is necessarily any partner or person within your realm. It's an external is what I feel. It may be that somebody is saying, you have to do this because I'm an agency or regulatory situation that says that. So it may be a surprise. It may be something coming to you that indicates disorganization in some of your material educational or mundane, non-emotional purposes, but it's just going to cause that kind of emotional stress. Maybe you're going to find out that some project you were really waiting to green light and move ahead just still needs something else. There's a confusion aspect about it. So I'm sorry about that, but what will concern your emotional relationships this week, or your platonic or family or co-worker or other situations, is, and it just sort of all lines into place. It's the Chariot reversed. And I'm thinking that what is going on here is there's a serious challenge or situation coming that kind of derails you, kind of takes some of your motivation or drive away. It may be that there's a matter of purpose that is being restructured for you. I sort of get the feeling like if there are things here that are involving your ambition, your need to be in charge of other areas of your life, not just the emotional, but it's your work experience, or maybe it's your dealings with other people on other levels, not necessarily emotional. Something here is kind of really not hitting the gas right. These relationships maybe impact on you in the sense that they're diverting your energy for how you need to resolve other things. So it could be that other people are lacking control and motivation over your lives, and you're going to have to kind of supply some of that energy to them. And that's not really helping you, because you have your own set of confusion and challenges there for you. So I'm feeling some really unsettled times for the week ahead for the water signs. I just feel it really is about the confusion. It's about the fact that you're watching things that are surprising to you, really are the fact that you just maybe are going to let things go. You're going to let things kind of meander a little bit and flop around because there's another challenge coming to you, and you just sort of need to put some force into that. At the same time, you still have to deal with a lot of unmotivation by everything around you. It sounds crummy. I feel it already. So that's what we have for the water signs. And so now for the earth signs, the word of the week is solitude. Solitude, earth signs, this is a week to kind of crawl away and just really meditate more, think more, plan more, do things that keep you away from other people, especially in terms of emotional relationships. I'm just going to have to say that there's just probably a lot of things displeasing for your emotionality, earth signs. So what emotional happiness will you find this week? My goodness, this just won't stop coming. It's our friend the Two of Discs again, and I guess earth signs are having some of the same problems that water signs are having. Go figure, they are maybe more simpatico than others. You're just finding that maybe this is really letting it go, like I said, and maybe you're a little more set about that in terms of just keeping your own company, the solitude thing, whereas water signs are just really probably going crazy, confused. But with earth signs, you're sort of feeling like this really is more within your nature of understanding that sometimes you just have to let some things move in their own direction and resolve themselves, and see what it is that you can feel good about at the end of that day. Now, what will you be challenged with? And you also have a court card, but you have the King of Swords instead of the Prince of Swords, and it is, of course, reversed. And I'm thinking that what is challenging you, what is maybe a shocking surprise, is that you really do realize that you don't have autonomy in these situations emotional, and that you're very likely to make a harsh or wrong decision. You're very likely to probably take the wrong side in this. And so maybe that's really where the solitude is coming from, is that if you're not really in the mix of things, you won't be pressed to make that decision or choice that maybe you are just bound to not really be able to handle. So I'm thinking you're understanding that you need to avoid making what could be a really bad decision. And I'm thinking it is about, your relationships or about your emotional happiness. It's very likely that you really need to spend most of this week in that solitude and thinking about all the ramifications of what kind of emotional currents are going on around you right now. I'm sure that most of this has a lot to do with what's going on in the Zodiac. Then finally, what will concern your romantic relationships, platonic, other relationships the most? And it's the reversed Ace of Swords. So I think that those around you will feel that there is a big letdown, there's a big delay in anything new happening. Maybe some people will feel they were ready to start something really new, like a new job or getting back out into the world, and things are not looking that way at all. I shudder to think that probably, of course, this may be due to the rampant coronavirus situation. It's literally taking over the world right now, or so it seems. And despite the fact that it's still only affecting a smaller percentage of our overall population, the corollary damage or the corollary concerns are what really drives the problem the most. And we're all going to need a lot of patience with that, and understanding that things are going to be delayed, and things just really are going to be very delayed. And I want everybody to remember that some people have had to wait years for things to turn around in their favor. People who felt oppressed, people who felt that their situations were not being addressed by the world. And I'm thinking about all the people in the world who have situations like that maybe are living in truly restrictive governments or nations where this kind of thing goes on. So I urge patience to earth signs and all signs. I urge understanding. I urge sometimes giving it a little more time. I know that's all we have in the world is time. So earth signs, hang in there. You need to consider all your options. You need to think about what it is you really need to focus on, as opposed to all the other things that maybe you can just not deal with at the moment. Another week could bring another challenge, but it could also bring a resolution to the challenges you're facing. So I want to leave you guys with that. I want to leave all the signs of the Zodiac, all the elements of the Zodiac, with peace and understanding. Please join me again next week, and let's see if the emotional scales start to tip more in your favor. So that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges.